at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Los Reyes Mexican Grill, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro with us here today. A little bit of a change in our schedule. We got guests on a plane. So ordinarily Wes Reynolds is with us on Wednesdays. He is en route to the finals, and Scott Rabelais is usually with us on Wednesday. He is en route to Omaha. We'll be checking in with those guys later on in the week, but not today. Henry Hayes will be with us to talk about the resumption of the finals. First game in Indy tonight, with the series tied at 1 apiece. We got consensus golf picks,
but we will have Wes's. I have Wes's picks.
Yeah, we got his picks, and Max is here with us.
Important to people.
Yeah.
He's a major.
He's done a great job for us. So Oakmont, not the friendliest of golf courses. Going to be a real test for the golfers this week. LSU leaves for Omaha just earlier this morning. They're heading up. First game on Saturday, of course, at 6 o'clock. Tigers got a nice send-off, and they're ready to do business. I was visiting with some of the folks up in Fayetteville this morning, did a little show up there. And the consensus is that this is about as even a matchup as you can get between these two teams, and it's best on best. Probably the best two teams in the tournament, certainly two favorites in the tournament. And if they played this game, for the next 52 Saturdays in a row, you might have a split right down the middle. So it's one of those games, huge. Determining who's going to be in the driver's seat. So it's a huge determining of who's going to win this tournament. But, as Johnson was pointing out yesterday, he's never been 2-0 in the World Series. Got to the finals with Arizona. Had to play the full allotment of games there. They lost the last one, but they had to play the full allotment of games and had to play the full allotment of games in 2023. And, Jimmy, we looked at that schedule. They've modified it a little bit now. Back with 2 games in the middle of the week, but we were looking at it, it's like, man, this is the most amount of games you can play. This is a heck of a thing to ask for your pitching staff. And if you'd had to give odds on the 23 Tigers losing one of those first 2 games and then having to win all those games in a row to get out, still a mind-boggling.
Well, your elimination game was against a team that was in the same situation. It doesn't matter if you lose your first one or your second one. Right. You lose one of the first 2, and you're in the same spot. So Tennessee was in the same spot that LSU was in. The Park is more forgiving. The Park will stretch out your pitching staff, as it did. I mean, those pitching performances were out of nowhere, and, well, just attack the zone, and the Park will help you field the baseball cleanly, and the Park will help you, unless you have an odd game 2 where it's just a mild hurricane blowing out, like game 2 with the Florida LSU series, the championship series that year. But it's odds to put on. Wake Forest would have been the favorite, but if you can win that game, you got a guy like Skeens to help you out. But they had to win one first against Wake Forest before they got to Skeens.
They had to win.
That's right?
Yeah, right. They had to win one against Tennessee and one against Wake Forest before they got to Skeens again.
Yeah, but Wake Forest saved their ace.
Louder.
For the elimination game.
Yeah, still one of the best baseball games I've ever seen.
It was
2-0 in 11 innings. It'll always be the Tommy White game in my head, but Skeens and Louder match zeros as long as they could. You gotta win a bunch of games in a short period of time, and they did. If, like you said yesterday, it'd be great to get to 2-0. He said, "I'd like to see how that feels."
You tell me about Arkansas's pitching depth. Can they lose one of the first 2 and come out?
Yes.
Yeah. LSU can.
Yeah, both of them can. I think both of them are.
And Coastal can.
Yeah, I think both of them are in better situation. Gage Wood was a key piece for Arkansas, but him being back now at full strength, I think that's a huge deal. He's going to start game 2 for them, and they've got a lot of bullpen, and they've got some interchangeable parts in the bullpen. A guy like Gabe Gackle, who has started and been a reliever, kind of their version of Chase Shores, not as big, but I just mean in how they've used him. They've got probably half a dozen guys in that pen that could all give them extended outings. So yes, to answer your question, they could. Certainly,
UCLA?
Not as deep. Good, but not quite as deep as those two teams. I'll tell you what UCLA can do, a deeper dive in them. They scored a lot more runs than I thought.
Well, traditionally you think of them as being pitching heavy,
yes,
especially the teams that have they've had Troy Glaus and a few along the way, but, and it's because of their park as well. Yeah.
There were two things that you traditionally think about UCLA, at least I do, that are not really true. Number one is what we just talked about, that they're not a team that scores a lot of runs. They were in the top 20 in runs scored this year in the regular season. And
playing that part, that's wow.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they don't play as hard of a schedule, especially now being in the Big Ten.
Not anymore.
Their strength of schedule was 22. LSU's was 39. Now, some of that is non-conference stuff.
That LSU non-conference thing was all time.
It was. It was awful. And if you want to eliminate, the quad 4 games, which LSU had some bad quad 4 games that pull the whole schedule down. If you want to look at just quad 1 wins, so how did they do against the best competition? LSU dwarfs them there. They won 14 quad 1 games, and UCLA only won 6. But if you take the whole schedule, UCLA's was on par with some of the schedules that we've seen here. Oregon State was 33, LSU's 39, UCLA's 22. Now Arkansas is 11. That's significantly better, but their strength of schedule is better than you would probably think. You say, "Oh, Big Ten team, crap schedule." It really wasn't. They played better than
played a horrible non-conference schedule. 2 of your 10 series were Missouri and South Carolina.
That also brought it down significantly. Missouri played as a quad 3 game, which you don't expect from an SEC series.
The other eight are as tough as anybody.
Yeah,
but. And then you throw in there who else in the postseason has played 3 games against an RPI 260 team. They did.
Yeah, they did. I'm trying to. I'm just
nobody. No, this weakest. It was the weakest one to throw,
right,
Charlie. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, sure, I got it. The numbers are running together on me. I've been looking at numbers for the last 2 days. They're kind of running together on me.
But that coastal is they got arms to come out of it. And not many do, but I've kind of eliminated 3. We've been doing some podcasts and things like that. I can't. Yeah, you just want me to pick a winner. Man, that's tough, with Arkansas and LSU playing each other. I would take LSU. If you just ask me, just straight winner.
Yeah.
Can't bet them at the price, okay?
Right.
But straight winner because I'm going to trust Anderson in the most important game of this tournament.
Yeah.
And it's Saturday night.
Yep.
Are you agree?
Yeah, and I think
whoever gets in the catbird seat there is going to be in great shape.
Yes, and Root has matched him in the last month. We went through the box score yesterday.
But
their line scores were almost identical. Yes, that's it.
Anderson's
and I love Anderson
better
too.
over the course of the season to the point where he might be the first pick in the draft.
I think we're eliminating the same 3 teams. That I can't make a case for.
The biggest Cinderella.
Murray State.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
I have a hard time making a case for Arizona. I think it's tremendous what they did at North Carolina, but I have a hard time thinking they can get through this whole tournament.
Okay, and then 3.
Louisville. I have a hard time getting
kumbaya.
them through. Okay.
Yeah, see, Max,
we've been reading the same literature, the 2 of us. I think those 3 teams. I would be really, really surprised if any of those
I'll
3
eliminate
got there.
those.
Yeah.
I can't bet at a price like that when these 2. We've been talking about that as far as value. There's been none on that side of the bracket. Tennessee, Arkansas, and LSU were the top 3 odds. Well, there's some value elsewhere because only one of them is going to make it to the final.
That's right.
And or only a max of 1 can make it to the final. That's the best you can do.
Yeah. And
so I just think that, man, this Coastal is. The more and more you look at it, 26-4 in the top 7 league, 5-0. I mean, Auburn is undefeated. Auburn did not lose an SEC series at home. They went in there and won 2.
Oh, by the way, let me add to that stat. Not only did they not lose an SEC series, they didn't lose 2 games in a row at home all year, period.
Jeez.
and Coastal
and
went there twice.
And it was no fluke. It was the second game, the Saturday game when they go. Now they won the 50-50 game, the extra inning game. There's no doubt. But the Saturday game was a matter of time before Coastal busted through. Kind of a fluke. Runner scores from first on a long single for Auburn's only run, and they didn't even threaten. And Coastal had like bases loaded, nobody out. The lefty comes in for Auburn, gets out of it for strikeout. You know, they were dodging bullets, but it was a matter of time. And then there it was. And so it was it was impressive the way they did it. And watching them, the eyeball, Charlie. They got their guys. Not only do they have velo stuff, they movement too. I mean, it is. And they play in a hitting-friendly park.
They do. We went through those dimensions. It's
That's
325. It's 390. It's a straightaway center field.
Maybe because I was just thinking traditionally, just kind of like UCLA, but you do a deeper dive and see how their lineup is way more potent than it usually is. The same thing with Coastal. I mean, Coastal came through here. We saw them, in that Super, right? They hit. They were constantly on the bases.
They still ain't got that dude with the beard out.
I mean, yes. I mean, constantly on the bases, just nonstop. But their arms, man, and you look at them. They have 10 guys with an ERA of 3.03 or less. A 3 ERA is good in college. Get 10 of them.
Yeah.
How has this happened in this era? It's a hell of a job by this guy.
It really is. Let me ask you this. I think we both like Coastal on the other side of the bracket, and with
Oregon State because I got them at 15-1 last week.
Right.
And I talked about this, and I was in two things. Coastal might be stronger than I thought, but I thought North Carolina was going to be in position. I thought North Carolina was going to beat Arizona, and they lost 2 close ones. And then they were going to burn up Knapp. And I would have Oregon State against it. Well, now we're going to have is Coastal going to go in the same order?
I don't know.
He could go Saturday to. You can go Saturday to Saturday to Friday.
He could flip them again. It's possible.
Well, I hope he flips them.
Yeah,
because the kid that threw Saturday is better. He's the conference pitcher of the year. 2 ERA basically.
Yep.
And Charlie, he's filthy.
He is.
He's filthy. He's long. He's about 6'4", and it's his ball. He flirts with being a little wild. Tall pitcher, lots of movement, lots of velo. Those are guys that are hard to, but God, he's hard to hit.
If UCLA was on the other side of the bracket, would you pick them?
UCLA has a chance.
Yeah.
UCLA has a chance. UCLA has been very impressive. They've gone 5-0, and Cal Irvine was supposed to be. Now, they got a break. The Cal Irvine lost the first game, and by the time they came back out of the loser's bracket, their pitching was spent. Okay, so they get a break there. But we all respect that UTSA team.
And they shut them down, man.
Beat the crap out of them.
Shut them down.
Yeah. So
it was surprising. Gonna be fun. Can't wait to get started.
But I know UCLA. I can't just run a line through them.
No,
and they should win the first game.
Yeah.
So
they've had the same 3 guys starting pretty much. They've got a true 3-man rotation for most of the last 2/3 of the season. They got the big Bacher and Chalowski, who's hit 23 dingers. They got guys. They got guys.
Their pitcher that they were saving up, who led the Big Ten in wins this year, that I thought was they're kind of interchangeable.
Barnett.
Yeah, but they're kind of they don't. If you see. As strong as Coastal's pitching is, I don't want to face that guy that threw Saturday.
No,
against Auburn.
UCLA's got 3 guys that have made at least 12 weekend starts that have an ERA between 4 and 5. Okay, none of them they don't have a Liam Doyle or anything like that. But Barnett, they don't have.
Yes,
they don't have a weak link.
There's no separation between Barnett and the other 2.
Not much.
To me,
no.
There's and I went what I saw too, Charlie.
Yeah, there's half a run in ERA, which is nothing at this at this stage. So we're here at Los Reyes, Mexican
Los
Grill.
Reyes, man, it's my favorite spot, to come by on the way home for the Queen. And Mr. Kyle and great staff over here, they do a wonderful job. And Mr. Nasser also, they had their spot on Corsi for a long time, man. They came in here and renovated. If you haven't been here, it's unbelievable. It's very, very nice in here. You have indoor, outdoor seating. Now, maybe a little warm for that right now, but we certainly utilize that for Cinco de Mayo. Margaritas, of course. You got the tacos, burritos, enchiladas, taco pizza, which is outstanding. Generous portions, and you won't get that sticker shock when you get your bill. I mean, happy hour is every day. Is happy hour or happy cuatro horas. Yes, the 4 hours, 2:30 to 6:30 every day. And then we've got select wines, and we've got the Camus anniversary edition over here. We got a Prisoner. We got some nice wines over here. We got the Casa Azul. We got the Don Julio 42 for the premium tequilas as well. So you can do it any different level. So, man, I love those. I love that fajita steak queso and a burrito. Man, you talk about really good. Guacamole, the best, man. I love getting it with a little pop with the Sada guacamole every time I step in here with the Sada fresh jalapenos on the side. You got to check it out, man. Come on by. It's affordable. It's a little stop. They're always going to have the game on. 3 TVs. Tell the bartender, request. They'll put it on whatever you want. It's easy peasy over here at Los Reyes.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes, Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New podcast, new Handycast up right now at YouTube. You can get Dan Canaver and I went to a deep dive on LSU and their upcoming College World Series. You get that right now on YouTube. Jimmy, we got a ton, before we get to this fairground story, we got a ton of afternoon baseball. You went 4-0 yesterday on Otterlocks. So anybody you like that you can put on? We got games starting.
Some plays that have already made. So by the time I get him to Hunt and he posts them after his show, these games will be gone. So 7 afternoon games today. Nice day, 4-0 yesterday. So let's try and keep it going here. First of all, Cubs in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's in a funk. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Bryce Harper's on the IL right now. And they have split the first 2 with Philadelphia, but both of them been hit. This might be as weak of a starter as the Cubs are throwing out there today in Ben Brown. Jesus Luzardo for Philadelphia has got a back for a lot, Charlie, but his last 2 starts combined 5 2/3. He's given up 20 earned runs.
Okay, that's a lot.
20 earned runs. His ERA has gone from 2.15 to 4.46 in 2 starts. I mean, it is unbelievable. The over in this one got it at 8.5. It's at 8.5 right now at the Queen in the DraftKings outlet. So I like the. I went up to 9 even money. 9 even money over Philadelphia in the Cubs. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati's 5-0 against the Cleveland Guardians this year, and Francona has spotted a flaw in the Guardians lineup. And look. The Guardians were a team that was overachieving with their losses, with their 1-loss great record last year. It was not repeatable. That would probably revert back to the mean. And so they were kind of overachieving, not as of late. They are a sinking ship in the lineup, especially. The Cincinnati is throwing out their 3rd straight lefty against them. Abbott, a complete game. Yes, sir, 2025, complete game. Shutout last night. That was one of our picks. And so Lodolo, I'm going to ride him again, minus 117 at the DraftKings Sportsbook here at the Queen. I'm also going to play a little bit of a player prop. Rarely do I do it, but Jose Ramirez for the Guardians, he hits lefties. He is 4 for 5 lifetime with a home run against Nick Lodolo. Total bases over 1.5 is available at the MGM. You'll see some 2s out there, but over 1.5. So they probably pitch around him a little bit. 2 walks, and we cash. So, or how about a double to start things off? So, those two in that one. Reds money line, and then over total bases, Jose Ramirez. Talking about two teams that are in Cincinnati starting to heat up a little bit. Toronto was struggling early. St. Louis was exceeding expectations. Well, we're catching them going in opposite directions right now. Toronto's gained a little gain on the Yankees in the American League East, and St. Louis is starting to nosedive out of contention in the National League Central. Toronto looking for a sweep here tonight, and they stole one. They were down in the ninth inning on Monday night, won a big one yesterday. And Lauer and Liberatore are kind of going in opposite directions as well. The hotter team here looking for the sweep, plus 117, the Toronto Blue Jays. So there are your picks in afternoon baseball.
All right, Cubs over, the Reds and the Blue Jays, and Jose Ramirez over 1.5 total bases. Churchill Downs, which owns the fairgrounds, the corporation, sent a letter yesterday that I'm gonna condense this. It's a very big story. Basically, that if there was not a subsidy coming from the state of Louisiana, that they would forfeit their gaming and racing licenses at the fairgrounds and would not have live racing this fall. This comes on the heels of a Louisiana Supreme Court decision that would not allow the Churchill Downs ownership to operate historic horse racing machines at the fairgrounds. These historic horse racing machines rerun races from many, many years ago, and you can gamble on those, and the machine kind of does everything for you. But they wanted a subsidy from the Louisiana legislature, and the Louisiana legislature is not likely to do that. The legislature says that Churchill Downs is making money, that they reported $44 million in positive cash flow, and just $6 million of that came from these historic horse racing machines. Long story short is the state is not going to acquiesce to this subsidy. Churchill says we'll forfeit our license if you don't. And putting these, so you say, why don't you just give them the historic racing machines back? Well, that has to go to a vote. The Louisiana Supreme Court says that has to be voted on. So, Jimmy, we could end up with no horse racing. There's been some form of racing at the fairgrounds since the 1830s. Now, they have gone through spells, after Hurricane Katrina, they had to move the whole meet for a year up to LAD. But this would be the first time, just nothing. And so it's a big deal down in New Orleans, and we're going to talk to Michael Bachok a little bit later on in the week. But the fact Colucci brought this to our attention a few weeks ago. Hey, there may not be racing at the fairgrounds this fall.
Oh, I don't think there is. I think
that's the chalk.
Let's keep in mind, like, there are other businesses that make money that get subsidized.
Sure.
You want to start with the New Orleans Saints?
Yes.
I mean, do they get all kinds of breaks? So, I mean, maybe Churchill Downs, who operates in multiple states, is getting that elsewhere. Maybe so.
Well, they shut it down in Illinois. With Arlington, they
sure did, Charlie. Arlington, which is about 30 minutes north of downtown Chicago, 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So when I called, back before cell phones, when I called Harry Carey at his house, when Dutchie answered, and she told me, says, he'll call you back. He and Arnie are at the track. So,
nice.
I mean, but I've been there. And,
you know who they sold Arlington to? They sold to the Bears. The Bears were going.
It's defunct now.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But they sold the property to the Bears.
Hollywood track closed down in Los Angeles. It's Bay Meadows, I believe, that closed down. One in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's the horse racing industry and the slots have been kind of keeping them going, a lot of them.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, Churchill Downs. This is something that Colucci tipped us off on a few weeks ago, and said, man, and it kind of blindsided us. And I did some homework, and one thing about it is Churchill Downs, the guy that's running it, he's not playing. And, then Colucci also told us that, look, the trainers are moving their barns to like Delta Downs in Texas, and they're preparing for this.
Because the track will not be kept up at racing quality if there is not live racing. In other words, I thought, well, can they still train horses there? And the answer to that is no.
Well, they're going to move some of those races elsewhere because about 25 years ago when Churchill Downs took over operations of the fairgrounds, they improved the quality of racing. The big name trainers were housing their, keeping their horses there for the meet. I mean, the stakes, the purses, everything went up. Now they got the slots also. That happened since they got it as well. But kind of a shame. But is the state going to give it to, Miss Gail Benson if she wants to buy it? I've sat next to Tom Benson and Miss Gail Benson in a suite at the fairgrounds. They loved it. She's got a little bit of that in her blood. But it's...
My thought is that Churchill...
You're going to have to be subsidized some way.
Churchill I think, is angling to sell. Okay? Now, so the question is, are you more of an attractive buy if you still have your gaming and racing licenses? They're going to forfeit these things.
That's
now you got to go back. Not that you couldn't go back through the process. The other thing is that you say, well, just razz the facility and build something else. The zoning commission is not going to allow that. So I think the probability is that the fairgrounds will eventually be sold. Gail Benson is the most likely buyer, but she's not the only potential buyer. And then it'll be, would you ever put this up to a vote on these slot machines? Would the state agree to some additional kind of subsidy or whatever? But I think they're going to be a year off, that they'll try to sell this thing in the year that they're not racing, I think is,
We used to have a lot of fun at Ex-Arbon in Omaha.
We did. The first times we went to Omaha, we were
sat there and watched Belmont Stakes, Belmont Day, and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, no,
it's right in the middle of town.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. But no, they're shutting down all over the place. Pimlico is on life support, but they're going through a big. So just like Belmont's doing a major reconstruction, renovation in New York, and has been at Saratoga for the last two Belmonts, and maybe for a third next year. Same thing with Pimlico; they're going to have to run the Preakness at Laurel the next 2 years so either you're trying to save it, a historic. And speaking of Pimlico and Saratoga is the oldest race track in the country. Pimlico is second. Fairgrounds is the third oldest track in the country.
Pimlico get money from the state of Maryland for this renovation? Do you know?
I would think so.
I was just wondering who was financing
I don't know how they could do it. I mean, no, the tracks have to be subsidized in some way. I don't think pretty much every track is.
The horse racing industry worth, I think it's $2.5 billion industry in the state. Yeah, $2.5 billion industry in the state of Louisiana.
Don't forget our friends at Workbox Services. Workbox Services, we can handle all of your movable storage needs over at Workbox. So it's we got we're expanding, man, bigger and better. We've down in the from Lake Charles to the Gulf South to the New Orleans area. Martin Padilla Jr. is on us. Miss Hannah's in the office. Brandy, how about my boy Chris Brooks is on the Workbox team? Go ahead, Brooksy. So just expanding their staff in their coverage. We can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial or residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8 to 8x40 feet. Units can be customized, any use or to your desire. Work sites, custom lunchrooms, offices. Part storage, part office, dual purpose, climate control, different materials, shelving, lighting, you name it, we can do it however you need or however you desire. Give my buddy Martin Padilla and Workbox a call at 343-4886 and workboxllc.com.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Big dog, how you doing, Randy?
I'm doing pretty well, getting finally all situated here in North Dakota and enjoying a little bit of nice summer weather.
Hey, let's talk a little NFL today. It's finally official. I still had my doubts whether it was going to happen. I just didn't. I don't know. I'm just something about the Rodgers Steelers. I mean, it says a lot. I'm just a little surprised that the Steelers, with being as strong of an organization as they are, would just welcome his baggage, okay, his shenanigans. But are they a better team, with Aaron Rodgers at the tail end of his career rather than maybe Mason Rudolph, who might be a little bit improving a little bit? Probably so. To the point, you got the schedule. What would you have, Aaron, the win total for the Steelers? How much of a difference with him and without him?
I would keep it still at about 8.5. I think they got the right number. And I've listened to Johnny Avello, and the DraftKings numbers on those was made for if they did it anticipating Rodgers to be the quarterback.
Right.
I don't feel like there's much drop off from Mason Rudolph, and I agree. I don't think it's much of an upgrade from Rodgers to Rudolph at this point in his career, but I do see some edges here in their schedule. Not so much in the over/under till we know a little bit, because their first 4 games are winnable. I mean, they could easily be 3-1 going into that bye after Ireland, and they play Minnesota and Ireland, and then they get a bye, and then they get Cleveland at home. So they actually have 5 pretty easy first games there. You see them struggling in those 5. It only goes downhill after that. They go, to Cincinnati on the Thursday night game, which would be a game I'd pinpoint betting against them.
Yeah.
And then they got some tough road games here. They got Green Bay at home. They got Buffalo at home. They got most of their tough games are at home, but against opponents that are far better than them. So it could be a scary situation. But I definitely see it's a wait and see till after that Week 4 bye when they play the Minnesota Vikings in Ireland.
Charlie, what do you think about that? 8.5 with him or without him? That's a little. I got to pull up Mason Rudolph's numbers from last year, but from Aaron Rodgers to Mason Rudolph, no change.
I still think he's an upgrade based on what we saw in the last 6 or 8 games of last year. Rudolph's a career backup in the league. He's a serviceable backup. So I think even at this age, Aaron Rodgers is still worth it. I do put some stock into the fact that he and Mike Tomlin have a pretty cozy relationship. There's a mutual respect factor there. So some of the clashes that Rodgers has had with coaches over the last 10 years, it seems like, may not be in place. So I think that's in their favor. But it's it's a really rough division, and maybe a game better. I don't know. I think Rodgers will be an upgrade. The most bizarre thing about that press conference yesterday, that when he talked to me yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Well, no, it's Aaron Rodgers. He goes, Aaron, was that a wedding ring? Yeah, I got married. Okay. Now nobody knows who he married, and nobody knows where. Yeah, I got married. Just kind of off the cuff. Yeah, I went and I was running some errands. I picked up my dry cleaning, and I went get something to eat, and I got married. It was so totally him, right?
Randy, you think that's why there's no difference because Charlie just gave us that news that he got married, so he's distracted, huh? Maybe Mason Rudolph is still single.
He's always Rodgers always been a strange guy. There's I heard stuff that he hasn't talked to his parents in like so many years.
Yeah. Yes.
They've been
that's why I mentioned it.
He's kind of like a Rain Man type, type person. So just kind of just does his own thing. But one thing that is working for him and the Steelers, they're going to play Steeler football. That he's not going to turn the ball over, and that should help him instead of Rudolph's kind of a turnover type quarterback more so than him. So there's going to be a lot of and a more of an improved offensive line will be behind with Pittsburgh than the New York Jets tried to upgrade the line last year, but then they all got injured, and then he was just sitting duck behind there. A lot of times the weapons on each team between comparing that, and this is going to be an interesting game between them and the Jets in Week 1. If that goes down a little bit, I think Pittsburgh maybe has some value, but as far as the weapons go between the Jets and the Steelers, I don't know if there's an upgrade there with Metcalf, getting used to some of them, Freiermuth, the tight end, but I do think he'll get a better running game, so that'll help him in his, because he's not very mobile anymore and, can do them small moves in the pocket, but he does get a slight upgrade here with the Pittsburgh offense.
Okay, so, Mason Rudolph is a little bit of a punchline, okay, and people want to let's try and fairly evaluate, though, because 2 years ago with the Steelers, he actually showed some signs. 9.7 yards an attempt. I mean, he only played in 4 games, only threw 74 passes, some were in relief, but 3 TDs and no interceptions by far. Now, Charlie can attest to this. I certainly remember the games he played last year with the Titans because there were great value every week, and well, that value went in the toilet every week because Charlie gave me a Tennessee Titans T-shirt for Christmas last year. I deserved it after donating so much toward the Titans thing. But how much was just he was in such a bad situation there that they, maybe he can get back to a little bit of that 2023 form if he comes in relief.
Yeah, I think, he's definitely a good guy to have in relief. And, of course, you failed to mention 2 years ago when he burnt me out of about 100,000 there with that one lucky pass.
The Cincinnati game?
Against the Ravens there late when the Ravens were sitting those guys. And pretty big underdog. And that would have got me top 10 in the circuit contest. That specific game. But that was the one good pass he threw in the whole game. And, of course, it went for a touchdown. But he had his moments, but you don't have much confidence with him in there, and he has proven he does turn the ball over. So it's just scary unless they get some kind of and they're going to play Steeler football. Rely on that defense. Tomlin, of course, not the best game coach during the game. He's a decent coach otherwise, but he's going to punt from the 45-yard line and pin him deep like you shouldn't be, but he's going to do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's what another one before we let you go. And a lot of people think they are Saints fans. I'm a true Saints fan, and this thing has to get worse before it can get better. And I want to build resources and draft capital. So I'm looking for them to hoping that they lose every game this year. So I'll be pulling hard against them because I'm a true Saints fan and, not a fake one like some of these posers. But anyway, let's get to it. Let me see the odds on them having the fewest wins. Do they have a chance at having the fewest wins this year or close to it?
Yeah, I got 4 teams in here, and you guys can add another one if you want. But I got the Saints, Titans, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants. All the 4 worst teams.
Saints, Titans, Giants, and Browns?
Yep.
Yeah.
How can the Browns be the worst with the decent draft and you got Flacco available? Huh, Randy?
Well, of course, I love Flacco, but that just that organization, it seems like everything goes wrong for them. They could have a good bounce-back season, but I had to throw them in there. All right.
Okay, you being
Well, the other 2 worst teams from last year both made significant upgrades at coach and I think at quarterback. The Raiders have upgraded at coach and quarterback. The Patriots have upgraded at coach, and I think that, you're going to get a full season of Drake May, so I think he'll be better. And then he didn't start, the first 4 or 5 games last year. So the other 2 teams that were down at the bottom have upgraded at the 2 most important spots. So, yeah, I would.
You talking about the Giants?
No. I said, he said, do you want to throw any other teams in there? I said, the other 2 teams that were at the bottom last year, the Patriots and the Raiders, have made significant upgrades at coach and at quarterback.
Well, I think he has a year to build on. You know, and
He'll be better this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He showed us. Williams would be better.
And
Chicago,
Vrabel is an upgrade.
You know,
Pete Carroll is an upgrade. Geno Smith is certainly an upgrade from what the Raiders had at quarterback last year.
Do you think Daniels, in theory, he should be better this year? Maybe running a little less, and maybe Randy, what's your thoughts on Jaden Daniels improving after an unbelievable year last year?
Yeah, you never know. Second-year blues with some of these quarterbacks. You know, we saw Stroud kind of in that same situation. So we'll see if they improved in the years they need to. Offensive line so they didn't take all those hits would be a big issue there, and a little better running game.
Cleveland Browns are the favorite, plus 400 for the fewest wins. It's at the Queen DraftKings outlet, 4-1. Saints right behind, plus 425. Then the Giants plus 600. Jets plus 800. Titans in 12 plus 1,200.
How many games do you think Flacco's going to start? Not how many he should start. How many do you think he actually will start? Because once they start losing, there's going to be pressure to put the rookies in. He's 40 years old. He could get hurt. You know, how many do you think he will start?
Let me say 8. What do you think, Randy?
Yeah, I would say right around 6. If he struggles, they're going to go to Pickett first before they probably go to the rookies if they're still in contention.
There you go. Big Dog, we appreciate it, man. We will talk to you next week. Thank you so much. Great stuff as always. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39.
And you guys enjoy your Tigers there in College World Series. It's going to be a real interesting one.
They're going to be calling you in the mountains to deliver some Jell-O. So,
so you guys go down there.
We're not making it this year. We're not making it this year.
I wish I was going, but I couldn't. I had an appointment. Otherwise, I would have gone down there and partied with the circuit crew. They're all down there this year.
Yes, with that, we're going to have some of those guys on the show during the thing as well. I'm going to be on their shows as well. Thank you, Randy. We appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Good luck to everybody out there.
All right, United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge, including their newest one, right down Burbank at Burbank and Bluebonnet. We've been serving the people of southern Louisiana for over 50 years, all the way from location from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. That's right. Our great team of bankers, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. We go by and stop by and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There are many times when I'm just really happy that my team doesn't have the worst owner in all of sports. That title, kind of changes hands a little bit. Knicks fire Tom Thibodeau, who, best record in the last 25 years, deepest run in the last 25 years for the Knicks. So they got to have a good idea what they're going to go do, right?
No, they don't.
Okay. I know. Let's go talk to the Timberwolves. Let's go get their coach. They're not, they're not going to worry about parting with Chris Finch. All they did was make the conference finals. Minnesota told them no. Oh, I know. We'll call the Rockets. We'll get Ime Udoka, who has, turned the fortunes around of that team and has got them going in the right direction.
Shoot.
They'll let us have him. No.
Stupid.
I know. We'll go to the Mavericks. We'll let them give us Jason Kidd.
Nico gives away everything.
Who has stood with them, and got Cooper Flagg coming in, and if he can get the two vets healthy, actually has a contending team even after that crazy trade. No. Can we talk to Jason Kidd? No, you can't talk to him. And then, we'll talk to Jay Wright. No, I'm not interested in coaching. So they got nothing.
Didn't surprise.
No, it shouldn't.
Come on, it's not surprising it anyway.
We'll do a coaching search. Hour number 2.
Max said, this is Detroit did this. No, they didn't do this. Larry Brown wasn't in the wing. Arguably the best coach ever.
Hour number 2, straight ahead here at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget, we will have Wes Reynolds tomorrow live from Indianapolis, a recap of Game 3. He's going to be there watching his Pacers. Of course, Wes is from Indianapolis, but we do have his picks. We get Max's breakdown in the next segment, then our consensus picks for the U.S. Open, brought to you by the law offices of O.C. Brown. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. So we're going to flip-flop Wes and Henry Hayes. Bring on Henry right now to talk some NBA playoffs. And before we get to that, Henry, as nothing says Dodgers, Padres like Kiki Hernandez for 2 1/3 on the mound.
Yeah, and it's not the first time this year, Jimmy. It seems like either runaway games or, I don't know, anytime you have a position player pitching, I don't think that's what Abner Doubleday had in mind.
But, I mean, that's one thing for an inning. I've seen that. I haven't seen a position player go in 3 innings.
No, that's
in the 6th, 7th, and 8th.
I always see Jose Canseco.
So
when I think of that.
So I thought it was a tough loss for the Padres. I thought they would bounce back. I thought Cease is more capable than the starter that was throwing. What's the kid's name last night, Henry? I'm going to pull it up. But Charlie, they're just about the 3rd inning, they just start pounding him. Okay, and they're not pulling this guy. I mean, they're just not going to pull him. It's sour. I mean, he gave up 4 2/3, 13 hits, 9 earned runs. I'm like, why? Well, because Kike had to come in and throw 2 1/3.
They out of guys or something.
It was 16 pitchers on the IL.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do it.
They got a farm club somewhere. They're not like the college teams. They can actually call somebody up.
TK with an impressive 2.08 ERA this season. Not bad.
Well, they kind of gave up their at-bats at that point, too. So, anyway, Henry, let's talk some NBA. I know you're big on OKC, like most people are. Indiana did get their split. It was a desperate spot to at least get a split for OKC in Game 2 after losing Game 1. But I think it's going to be a heck of a game tonight in Indianapolis. I'm not counting on Indianapolis going into OKC and winning any more. So that's there's not a whole lot of room for error. But I think these games are going to be highly competitive in Indianapolis. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, look, Hallie's shot in Game 1 obviously, went in, and they got the win, so he split. Clearly, the Pacers have a lot less room for error than OKC does, and Game 2 played out, I think, as a lot of us thought it would. And remember, this is why I picked OKC. The maturity for those guys to not only win that game but hammer them, we've seen this before in the playoffs. And that's, again, this is a young group, so you can't always assume that. But a couple things I think, Jimmy, we saw. Number one, I think, and credit the OKC coaching staff and the execution, they strangled the key. And said everything for the Pacers has to be on the perimeter. And so, Nimhard and some of the easier baskets around the rim that they got in Game 1, they cut that off. And so that makes Indiana so much more perimeter oriented. Combine that with the fact that for some reason Halliburton he was not aggressive at all in Game 2. That's one of my keys to tonight. He's got to be leading that offense from jump, or I think it's going to be really difficult for them, because I think what you saw in Game 2 was Lou Dort does the best job at roughing up Tyrese Halliburton. He's physical. He's 200-plus pounds. He knows how to play with his feet and his hands, and it makes it hard for Halliburton. He beats him up up and down the court. So I think you see more Lou Dort tonight, and I think the Pacers then, their kind of return of serve. Ironically, guys, I think the Pacers need to run the Thunder tonight because they've got to find a way to create easier baskets. That half-court defense, OKC, when it's right, is really, really good. And so I think they're going to look to run them tonight.
I don't think there's any doubt, and teams generally run more at home, even if teams that are not great in transition, because they're just fueled. They're fueled by the home crowd. I mean, at all levels of basketball. But, yeah, I would think they have to. Now, don't you think it was Dort, not just Dort, and he is going to beat him up in, at least, from the Oklahoma City team in their media, kind of a finally a breakthrough to be on the All-NBA defensive team, as maybe in the past they felt like he was deserving. But they also throwing fresh bodies at him, Henry. So,
yeah.
And here we get to the Halliburton thing. And one thing that stuck in my mind, I forget what Knicks game it was, but it might have been Knicks or Cleveland. It was a home game in Indianapolis, and Van Gundy, I believe, said, man, when Halliburton's aggressive early and when he's aggressive like this, and I'm like, well, why isn't he aggressive all the time? And like for his shot, and then not so much just trying to get, creating for his teammates too, but being selfish. And for the whole debate, whether he's a superstar or not, that's whatever. That's today's media. But a guy that's so good in the big spot and who's been in such a big part of a successful team in the post. This is back-to-back postseason runs that have been really good. He averages 17 points a game. And that's just below most of the guys who are having this big of an impact in the postseason. Where do we weigh in on him?
Yeah, and it's a little bit of I think it's a little disservice to Tyrese, Jimmy, because on the one hand, look, I just said it, he needs to be more aggressive. But on the other hand, if you watch Pacers basketball, they don't play that way. They play where everybody gets involved, they share the ball.
Yes.
He's more than willing to do that. But all that said, look, this is an X and O's deal. Without him, OKC is too good enough defensively to let the Pacers play the way that they played. This isn't a Thursday night in January in Toronto. I mean, this is the NBA Finals. You have to have this game. And so I think they've got to change their game plan. But like I said, that's not how they traditionally play, so it's not totally fair to Halliburton because you're asking him to basically switch what he's done for, 100-plus games. But like I said, I think that's the only way they can beat these guys.
I would be looking to run as well. So going back to, and this is why, the first matchup in game one, okay, yeah, the Pacers, they stole it. Okay, but they've done it before. I mean, it's, and Halliburton going to hit the big shot. I mean, who else in the league? I mean, this guy won postseasons, he has more than all kinds of Hall of Famers. I mean, all kinds. And so, I mean, with Jordan, I mean, as much as he did, okay, well, he hit the, in the Cavs series, okay, well, he hit this one against the Jazz. I don't know if Jordan has this many, man, in the playoffs. The other thing is, for them to have 19, 20 turnovers in the first half and still win, still even be in position in the same area code in a game, told me that maybe was that a sign of youth in game one in OKC, or is that why? No, man, this matchup is not as lopsided as we thought.
I think it's a little bit of them getting used to the pressure and that's a different level, Jimmy. Game one of the NBA Finals, but like I said, these guys quickly adjusted. And I'll give you an example. So the OKC is not good at getting to the foul line. Besides SGA, they're on the bottom third of the league. And if you look so far in this series, they flipped that script on the Pacers, which is something I think the Pacers need to quickly figure out because those are cheap, easy points, right? So yeah, I think it's like, look, you got a lot of young players that are under 25 years old. They know the situation. It's the NBA Finals, but it didn't take them long. And now little things, Jimmy, like the Pacers, when Hartenstein is in the game, he is such an easy hunt on the pick-and-roll switch. I think you're going to see Hartenstein's minutes cut tonight because of that, because Halliburton is really smart at quickly getting that player in pick-and-roll, and that's a terrible matchup for the Thunder. So I would expect Hartenstein's minutes to be cut tonight because of that.
Well, they're already been cut. Did you see from game one to game two?
Yeah.
He went from 17 minutes to 3 minutes. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's 17 to 22. He did get more. You think they're going to be cut down? Oh, yeah. So you think Homer is going to his minutes will go up from 27 from the last game?
Yeah, I do, because he's again, they're hunting Hartenstein the second they cross half court to put him in that pick and roll switch. He's on ice skates against a guard or Halliburton, when they switch out. So he's tough to play now. And again, great teams are hunting these mismatches, and he's the biggest mismatch that they have. So, we'll see. Obviously, it hurts the Thunder a little bit with defensive rebounding, but you could also say with Hartenstein on the floor, sometimes you're playing 4-on-5 offensively. So I look for his, like I said, I don't think he plays much tonight.
All right, Max. Check out the player prop. He had goofy commercial dude. Chet. See over on rebounds. So he only had 6 the first 2. So
he hasn't had over 7 since the second round. So even the conference finals.
But if Hartenstein's, if he's on the floor, he's going to get more.
You would think so.
Well,
but
if he's going,
that's just not the role they've played for whatever reason.
For the season,
sure for the season, but I mean this is since the conference finals. He has not played the role that maybe they're going to switch to tonight.
It's average 8 this year. So what is it?
It's gotten down to 7.5.
Okay, I didn't ask for all that, mumbo jumbo. I just wanted to know what the number was. Boy.
It was 8.5 to start the series. So if you think there's a chance now, there is some value because it's going down.
Henry, Charlie was shocked that the Knicks didn't have a guy in place when they launched.
I wasn't shocked. I was just taking the opportunity to make fun of them some more.
Speaking of goofy commercial guy, Jimmy, I think I speak for the audience. I'd like a live at lunch commercial similar to when the 3 Thunder guys walk out in the same outfit. Can we have Hanny in like a Hawaiian shirt and Max is wearing the same one and then you are wearing the same one? Can we get a sponsor and make this happen?
Matching Tommy Bahama shirts,
Yes.
from Sam Willard or something,
Yes.
some Tommy Bahama-esque shirts, huh?
What about the cowboy hat and the beard, Charlie?
Well, the beard's officially retired. I still got the cow. I can't grow one that looks worth a damn. That's why. And if I thought I did, my wife assured me that I can't. So.
Oh, okay.
But I still got the hat. If you want to go there.
Okay. Yeah, maybe so. But boy, it's this Dolan. Is that what it's? He reached out. He's in cahoots with Worldwide West. Is that what it is? And they told him. And they obviously don't like Thibodeau. And I could see some of that, but I mean, my goodness, they sure. This no matter as a business owner, man, and I know you were born on third base, okay, and you're playing around with the sphere and doing great. That's your corner of the store. Concentrate on that. Leave the basketball stuff alone. And you have capable guys like Thibodeau and the GM. I mean, they're capable. Just leave them alone. Let them do it. But he's got to do that. But I mean, don't you realize that? I mean, you have to have been waiting, man, if we could just get irrelevant, if we just excite our fan base. I mean, the fan base has never been more excited than the last two seasons. And nope, just bust it up. Take it for granted, huh? Because we don't know if he's the guy to take us to the next level. Okay. Where would you rank their roster, the Knicks, Henry?
That's a good question. I mean, I think, look, Brunson is better than most of us thought. The Karl Anthony Towns trade kind of worked out for them. Guys like Hart. I mean, they've got some pieces, but I'll go back to your comment about Dolan. Look, this is the strength and the weakness of being in the largest media market in the world, where you have a run like that, emotions are high, people are talking about the Knicks. They don't win that series, and then so what do? You fire Thibodeau, which, again, most of the insiders in the league are shaking their heads at going, yep, Dolan's going to Dolan. And so,
Right.
It's
that's
like
got to
Charlie
kill.
Brown.
That's got to kill him with getting anybody else, huh?
Well, he's got a lot of money to pay, and it's one of 30 in the world, so they'll get somebody else. The question is, like I said, I think a couple weeks on your show, Jimmy, or a week ago. Look, it's an adult in the room, and I know that's not fun, but a lot of times that's what you need, right? Greg Popovich wasn't always, the most well-liked guy, but he got his guys to play the right way, and that's why he had such success in this league. Phil Jackson, same thing. So, was it impetuous? Yes. Knee-jerk? Yes. But that's par for the course with James Dolan.
Wait, where did you say, Henry, you had their roster ranked?
I mean, if I had to think about it in the Eastern Conference, I think they've overplayed.
No, period.
Oh, probably I'd say maybe, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 in the league, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood.
They are co-second choice to win next year's title without a coach.
Okay.
I mean that's unbelievable.
Now, in what universe, though, did they think they're going to call the Houston Rockets and they're going to say, yeah, it's fine. Come talk to our coach who, Emi Udoka, his 1 year in Boston, they went to the finals. his first year in Houston, they won 41 games, which was, I think, a 20-game improvement. This year, they won 52 games. They are an ascending team. Yeah, we don't want that guy. Come talk to him. In what universe can they call the Timberwolves and ask for Chris Finch and say, yeah, that coach that's taking you to the conference finals back-to-back years, can we hire him? In what universe are these teams going to tell the Knicks, sure, come hire our guy? When the Saints were looking for a coach, did they start looking at the head coaches of the teams that were in the playoffs, that were in the conference championship games? I mean, did the Knicks think, yeah, absolutely, we'll be able to go get whoever we want?
Thunder is only 2 plus 200. Then the Pacers and Knicks are second choice at plus 800. Henry of the fourth, then the T-Wolves, then of the Cavaliers and the Rockets, which one of those young rosters do you think will continue to take the next step?
If I had to pick him, I think the Rockets, to me, to Charlie's point, with the Udoka knows what he's doing. I love the young pieces they have there. They have better draft capital than Cleveland does going forward. So I think Houston's going to be a problem. I think they are going to continue to get better. And Udoka's, he's got them playing defense, and they got a lot of long athletes with switchability. Eason's, LSU's own, is on that team. So the Rockets, to me, would be that'd be my pick.
All right, 5 points tonight. What you like?
Yeah, I think OKC wins, Jimmy, but I think because it's on the floor of the Pacers, I think Indiana covers. But I like OKC to get Game 3.
Okay. All right, OKC, but close. I think it's going to be very close as well. Henry, we'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you so much. I'll update you if the Padres are beating the Dodgers, but I'll be busy if not later at 3 o'clock, okay?
Tommy Bahama.
Tommy Bahama.
All three of you. All three. Let's go.
Yes, indeed. We'll, Max is sending a proposal to Sam Willard right now as we speak. Thank you, Henry. We appreciate it. Don't forget my friends over at Go Chevrolet. And I don't just talk about the folks over at Go Chevrolet. I drive a vehicle. So a few years ago when I was in the market for a new vehicle, I called my buddy Lee Carney. Star. Absolute. Yeah, he just kind of downplays it. Lee was a star. You remember those Bel Air teams that used to go toe-to-toe with Lester Earl's Glen Oaks teams? Yes, indeed. But Lee's been in the car industry for quite some time. He knows how to run a dealership. So he got Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Now he has Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine and doing his thing, the Go Automotive Group. And, I've got my Tahoe from over there. The Suburbans are outstanding. There's no doubt. So he helped me look at inventory, pre-owned. If we don't have the inventory, man, we will utilize our resources. We will get exactly what you're looking for in a pre-owned vehicle as well. Go see my buddy over at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, or check them out online at GoChevrolet.com.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Still haven't gotten Dad a gift for Father's Day. The Thibodeau store, the Pierre
on,
Bard store.
Ethan.
Come on, you're running out of time here as we get later in the week. Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau. Unique gift items, the Cypress furniture that you can get there, the gliders, the rockers, the benches, the huge selection of grills and crawfish and jambalaya pots, the big green egg cookers, and all the accessories that go with them. Lots of fishing gear, power tools, hand tools, and if you don't know what to get Dad, a gift card always works great because, well, you can go out there and get whatever it is that he wants. Cajun cookware that can be shipped right to your door. You're probably not going to get it there by this Sunday, but you can give him the gift card and it'll be on its way. Thibodeau store.
What about Paw for one of those Cypress
benches,
swing,
the gliders,
hanging swing, so you can do it from the oak tree, on the front porch.
Absolutely, all of that is available.
Come on, man.
At the Thibodeau store. Website is thethibodeaustore.com, and again, you can locate it at 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau.
Gadgets. Go down there and go see the folks at Thibodeau store. Tell them my dad's got a green egg. He loves to do outdoor cooking. Just give me some things. Put some things together. Put some gadgets together for me. Somebody has to relay it to Ethan because I had to give him a ride today from K&M Automotive. So what are you getting me for Father's Day? Is that Was that in August?
Yeah, when is that?
Is that before I go back to school?
Pretty good indication that
Somebody got to tell him, man.
Hadn't started shopping yet.
Do you have to give your kid money to? Max, do you get money from your dad to buy him a Father's Day present?
No.
See?
Maybe,
wake up, boy.
Does he listen to the show?
No, somebody got to tell him.
Okay,
That's I'm pleading right now. Slap him upside
We'll
the head a little bit.
over there. All right, U.S. Open at Oakmont.
Come on, Max.
Let's have it, Max.
I do have Wes's picks. Wes will be on with us tomorrow. Again, he's in flight on his way to Indianapolis for Game 3 of his beloved Pacers and OKC Thunder Finals Game 3. He'll be on tomorrow, so he'll give us a little bit of in-game, but I do have his picks, and we'll do that next segment as part of the consensus picks brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. But, Max, break it down for us. Obviously, it's going to be hard. Rabelais's toasting champagne as we speak.
Yeah, so the U.S. Open, it used to play, the USGA set it up to where the winning score was going to be around even par. They wanted carnage. Well, they're going to get carnage this week because this golf course is meant for it. That's what it's designed for. That's what the membership, which is very rare to get members who actually want a harder golf course. But they want it to play as the hardest course in the world, and it is likely going to play that way. Now, they've gotten a lot of rain over the last few weeks. It's going to soften the course a little bit. It's been dry for much of the week, but we do expect some rain this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, which could soften the course, could make the conditions a little bit easier on the weekend than maybe fans who are rooting for carnage like myself might be hoping for. But the rough is up, and it's very thick. That's what we're getting the feedback from the players. A lot of players think the winning score is going to be over par. I personally think it's going to be right around even, 1 under par when all is said and done. It very much depends on the weather. But one player that has aced U.S. Open setups, has aced long, rough, somewhat narrow fairways. They've widened them a little bit in the renovation since 2016 when Dustin Johnson won here at Oakmont in the U.S. Open. But Bryson DeChambeau is someone who sticks out to me, and I know he's going to be a popular golfer. I got him earlier in the week at plus 900. He's now best in market right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the Queen, having plus 750 on Bryson DeChambeau. I rarely go with any of the favorites. Normally I feast on the 30-1s or greater and just hope to hit a winner from there. But I just don't see that many golfers that have an opportunity to win this week. An exacting test demanding patience. You need to be able to just survive on a lot of these holes. And Bryson DeChambeau is not only a long hitter, that's what he's known for, but he's a tremendous putter. He's mathematical in the way he does that. With these fast greens, with a whole lot of slope from back to front, the whole greens pitch a certain way, I think that favors him very well. But the most underrated part of Bryson DeChambeau's game, in my opinion, is the accuracy that he's still able to manage with the driver. Normally the shorter hitters are the more accurate players, right? You're not hitting it as far, so your misses are not as big. But Bryson is somehow striping it down the middle of fairways routinely, despite the fact that he just wails at the ball. He doesn't maybe do it as much as he used to, but he's able to find more fairways than people think. He's above average accuracy player this season. And if you look at his finishes, certainly Liv's mentioned in this group. His last 6 tournaments, he's finished in the top 5 all 6 times. Now, 2 of those were majors. The PGA, he finished runner-up, and the Masters, he finished in 5th. In his last 6 major starts, he is top 6 in 5 of those 6, including a win last year at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. So he's the defending champion this week, but I ultimately think he is one of the few players who can keep up with Scottie Scheffler. This tournament certainly suits Scottie, but he's plus 275. I'd rather end up building a car that gets me to about plus 667, which is what, when I add my second golfer you're gonna hear from later. Plus 667 on 2 golfers, to me, is a little bit better than plus 275 on Scottie. So certainly Scottie has a chance. Maybe he'll win by 3, and maybe there's a way you can alt that. Scottie Scheffler by 3 strokes is, I think, plus 900. So maybe you could do it that way. But ultimately, Bryson DeChambeau is my favorite this week. I know he's super popular, but plus 750 is a fair enough price still at the Queen. And then Sepp Straka is my other play this week. He's also pretty popular this week at 50-1, but someone who hits a ton of fairways. He's a big guy from Georgia. He's got a Georgian accent, but he's originally from Austria.
What is a Georgia accent?
Straka?
What is a Georgia accent?
Just Southern.
Give it to me a little bit.
Southern. I'm not going to do that. No. I'll pass. But
it's kind of like what Tom Glavine.
Yes, they do that. Yeah, they do that unnecessarily.
Come on, dogs.
Kirby Smart.
Straka is a great great accuracy player. He's going to not get out of position too often. And when he does, he's able to hit just immaculate iron players. He is second to Scotty Scheffler, in my opinion, in terms of iron play on the PGA Tour. I think it's Scotty Scheffler, and I think it's Sepp Straka right behind him. He is an elite iron player, and that's going to be important this week with these firm greens. They're going to get them as firm as they possibly can. The greens are pretty big, but ultimately you have to be able to play a little bit conservatively because you miss the greens, you're in real trouble here. He's also been putting the lights out over the last few tournaments, but importantly, he won the Truist last month. He also won the American Express back in January. So he's a two-time PGA Tour winner. He's 50-1. His major track record is not great. He's more of a British Open type of player. But ultimately, I think if there's a selection of maybe 10 guys who can win this week, to me, Sepp Straka is on the outside looking at, or right on the inside of that top 10. He's currently ranked by Data Golf as the top 10 player in the World Golf Rankings, which are skewed because they don't include live performances, have him 8th. To me, this is just a value play on someone who hasn't really done it at a major championship, but fits this golf course well. So my card this week is 2 golfers, which is very rare for me. Normally I try to pepper the board with a bunch of longer shots, but I just don't think that's the way to go this week. Bryson DeChambeau, plus 750. Sepp Straka at 50-1.
All right, give us a couple of your favorite props.
Yeah, so top 60.
You can attack this a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give you one select market because I've got a whole lot of them. But miss the cut props are one way to go about it this week. Considering that top 60 and ties make it, that's a smaller cut than we see on the PGA Tour,
please.
Where it's top 65. 156 golfers, so it's a lot of people that are going to miss the cut.
60% roughly.
Yes, pretty much. When all is said and done, Justin Thomas plus 200 right now to miss the cut. He has got a really, really tough track record in majors over the last few years, and really not a great U.S. Open player. We saw him miss the cut at the PGA Championship, which is a similar rough being important. He's just not an accurate player off the tee. Off the tee is going to be paramount this week. Got to be able to hit fairways. That's not something he's done. If you look at him since the 2022 U.S. Open, he's finished inside the top 30 once. So he has just struggled in the major championships, and I think at plus 200 he could certainly put up a big number, a big score, and miss the weekend. Also, Brooks Koepka plus 120. There are things called trackers.
What's his number?
Plus 120 to miss the cut. Brooks Koepka tracker, Scotty Scheffler tracker. These are Twitter accounts that basically are devoted to just reporting his scores, how they do. Some of them go to the tournaments. Brooks Koepka tracker saying he's hurt.
We got to find you another hobby.
I know.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, you make a living doing that?
If you look at the Brooks Koepka tracker, they are of the belief that he is hurt. And if you look at his live results, he has been terrible as of late. He's just not the major killer that he once was. So I think he could miss the weekend at plus 120. And another guy, Tom Kim, minus 110. Just not a long player, could really struggle this week, has really fallen off a cliff this year in terms of his performance. So, I know a lot of people will play Rory. I'm certainly going to play Cam Smith as well if you want to throw him in there as well. He's even money to miss the cut. Not a great driver with the golf ball. Has really been affected by the move to live. He was such a great player, and ultimately he's kind of mailing it in, unfortunately, on the live tour. So there you go. Justin Thomas plus 200, Koepka plus 120, Cam Smith at even money, and Tom Kim minus 110. 4 guys who I think can miss the cut. Maybe you can parlay them or round robin.
We got Wes, we got Jeff, and their picks as well when we come back and give you the consensus. And we have a consensus. We have multiple consensus picks, and we have one unanimous pick. So we'll come back with that in just a second. I do have an update from Cleveland, Charlie.
Yeah, what do you want Ramirez to do in his first at bat?
Double.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah.
Over. Cha-ching.
Done.
Yep. That's a winner.
Had a good first inning in Philadelphia, too.
Yeah, 3-0. 3-0 Phillies against what? But that guy throwing for the Cubs he has struggled this year, and we hope Luzardo continues his struggles as well. But yeah, 3 and are over in that one as well. So noted over player, Jimmy.
Live at Los Reyes. Live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
All right, Wes Reynolds in flight, but I talked to him last night and here who he has. Bryson DeChambeau is the first one that he gave me. Then John Rahm. The X-Man, Xander Schauffele. Schauffele won the PGA last year, right?
Correct, and the Open.
And the Open.
And the Open, okay. Okay, the British and the in the PGA. Okay.
He has been top 10 machine at the U.S. Opens over the years.
Yeah, he was top 10 last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rib injury still bothering him or not?
Well,
really?
he's coming back from that, but his driving accuracy has been a little erratic this year.
The hottest live golfer, my favorite Chilean golfer, Joaquin Niemann. Victor Hovland made his list again. Harris English. And then Fitzpatrick. All right, Jeff's contributions. So that was West. DeChambeau, Rahm, Xander, Neiman, Hovland, English, Fitzpatrick. We'll give you the consensus and the unanimous in just a second. Indy Jeff has DeChambeau, Rahm. There's a common one. Joaquin Neiman, Oberg, Patrick Cantlay, Harris English, Cam Young, and Ortiz. He likes in some matchups as well. Matt Humans sent me his this week. Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele, Oberg, Lowry, Harris English, Fitzpatrick, and Rose. I just wanted to mention Humans, but we won't break off a stride. We'll just include the three regular contributors as far as him. So unanimous, including Humans, is DeChambeau. And then we have three more consensus picks, common picks. So DeChambeau, in all of these odds, the best ones, all four of these are currently available at the Queen and DraftKings outlets. Plus 750 on Bryson DeChambeau, our unanimous pick. John Rahm is at 12-1. That's available at DK. I guess he fits it as far as he's capable. He's one of the you have a 160. What are we talking about? You talking about 10, maybe, give or take a few.
He would be in that mix.
He would be in that mix.
Top 10s every
What's
week.
What's his form in Live right now?
Top 10s every week on Live. He's
Really?
got top 10s all year long, basically.
I go back to Jack Nicklaus' comments. You don't find your game in a major. You bring your game to a major. So, just quoting Jack now, Charlie. With my Sam Willard, Tommy Bahama shirt.
I don't see why everybody thinks this is so hard. There's no trees. There's no water. All you got to do is hit it straight. I mean, seems easy enough to me.
Joaquin Neiman is a pick. He has been actually won 4 times recently.
He wins. He's the star of Live. If we're being honest, in terms of winning on that tour.
He 4 times this season. Is that right?
He won last week at Live Virginia. Yeah, 4 times. 4 times on Live.
Who are the other winners?
I think Bryson won once.
Bryson, okay.
You've got maybe Ortiz. No, Ortiz won on the Asian tour.
Nobody's really sure. Nobody's watching.
That's the problem. The one thing about Neiman, though, he finally got a top 10 at the PGA this year. It was his first major finish inside the top 10. That was the big bugaboo on his resume. Was he never had a top 10 at a major. He finally has that under his belt.
And then Harris English, as much as 100-1. And why is he such a horse for this course?
It's specifically about difficult conditions. The Memorial a couple weeks ago, tough golf tournament. He finished even par, 12th place. PGA Championship, a major venue. He finished 6 under, runner-up. He's got quite a good track record in recent years in majors. When the golf course plays hard, he finds enough fairways. He's just gritty. He finds a way to finish around even par.
Well, you need to do. I hope this week is better than last week's pick, Sam Burns.
Oh, jeez.
Disappointing. That's a lot of people when you hit a buzzer beater, which happens all the time, like in basketball, and you lose a spread, or they give up a lead, which happens a lot in the NBA. That was a tough one.
It was.
But you can't when there's 8 guys tied in the middle of the 4th round, which there were, or if it was in the middle of the 4th round or very close to it, it was an 8-way tie for first. You can't hedge. But when there's a playoff and they take a break, you can profit. Absolutely.
He was minus 150.
I mean, no.
Maybe higher.
What's name was plus 150?
Yeah, Fox, yeah.
No, right. I got plus 150.
At one point, I saw Burns as high as minus 500 at one point during the day.
God, he had that stroke. When he had that putt,
the birdie
it
on
was
17,
off.
When Fox missed the birdie putt on 17, it was basically just going to be Burns or Fox.
Yeah.
Fox had a birdie the last. Burns was a heavy
Did you
favorite.
think he was going to hit that putt that barely rolled in? Perfect speed, that kind of, they call it widening the hole.
I had a feeling he might make that one, but I also had a feeling Burns would make the 5-footer in the playoff.
Okay,
hole,
we know that, but
yeah.
I mean, still Fox had to make that. I mean, that
It was 17 feet.
and would
less than likely
20%, 25?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's
Maybe
tough
less
one.
than that. But
Tough.
Burns has a chance this week, not to win. I don't think it would be a tough ask. He's got one top 10 finish as well in a major, but that was last year's U.S. Open, so we'll see. He's starting to play a little better in majors, and certainly this year he's trending in the right direction. 6 straight top 30 finishes.
Charlie, any thoughts?
Yeah, hit the ball straight. No water, no tree. Just hit it straight. No, I can't. I mean, the golf experts have, taken everything here. I can't.
Consensus, unanimous. DeChambeau, John Rahm, Joaquin Neiman, and Harris English, brought to you by our friends over at the law offices of O.C. Brown, dedicated to protecting your rights, fighting for the justice that you deserve, because you get in that car accident, the insurance company representing the person that slammed you is not in the business of just, hey, we'll give you everything you're entitled to. You need representation, or you're going to get taken to the cleaners. Call our friends over at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. When my car got totaled, I mean, all right, what do I do then? He set me up with the doctor's appointments, the initial doctors, then the chiropractors, and set him up. He dealt with the insurance company over and over. So, and look, shenanigans. I mean, yes, at the scene of the crime, the mom's thanking me for saving a daughter's life, for avoiding her. And, the next day she changed her tune. Come on. Forget all that shenanigans. Let Dana handle all of that for you. DWIs to estate planning, you name it. I mean, it's personal injury, criminal defense, even traffic tickets. Both Charlie and I have recommended Dana's team of attorneys for a lot of friends along the way as well. Downtown, Dana Brown, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today's show also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. They've done such a great job for our family, making us feel secure in our plans for retirement. Whatever your situation is, wherever you are at this point in your life, whether you, whatever your income is, whatever your age is, they can tailor a plan that is perfect for you to make you feel secure. That reassurance that comes with a lifetime relationship that you build with Coastal Capital Advisors. I really feel good about the work that they have done for us. Contact Phil Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, it's coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services by New Age Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Phillies 3-0 on the Cubs. That game is in the top of the third. Guardians a 1-0 lead on the Reds. That's also in the middle of the third. Heavy day of day baseball. Everybody getting to Omaha today or tomorrow. The teams, they'll have workouts tomorrow at Charles Schwab Field. They have media availability tomorrow. So
all
a
eight?
lot more. Yeah.
How many of the 8 announced starters?
They ask them every year, and at the College World Series, they usually provide an answer. When they get the coaches up there, they usually provide an answer.
Johnson Teleskeens last time? I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did.
Yeah, he did. There's not a lot of guesswork to this. Everybody's on full rest, and everybody's throwing their ones, you would think.
Anderson is more. He didn't throw twice, and he didn't throw more recently.
Yeah, no,
and he's your better. He's not fooling anybody holding Anderson.
No.
So even he might tell you tomorrow.
And the regionals, the order greatly matters, okay? The super regional, you say, well, they're back-to-back days. You got to throw your first 2 guys. It doesn't really matter. The order matters in Omaha a little bit, because if you lose, you got to come back. It's how fast can I get back to my number 1 guy, later in the week. So, yeah, your first 2 guys are guaranteed starts, but it matters the order. Everybody goes with their 1. I can't imagine anybody would.
Well, Coastal didn't throw their ace in game 1
of the Super. But here it matters because if you throw him in the first game, you're that much closer to getting him back for a potential third game or fourth game.
No, I think Coastal will throw their ace.
Yeah. One of the guys from Murray State may be compromised because they had to throw multiple times and they're throwing on Monday. They may have to juggle things a little bit, but I think everybody else is throwing the ace on game one. So we'll see. Jay Johnson at a funny line says, he says we'll probably have to play Arkansas at some point anyway. So let's go ahead and play them in game one.
Let's spare me, man. I mean, fans are fans, but when media members start crying about the draw or reseeding, man, this is as easy of a path as LSU has ever had to Omaha, and you're going to have to beat somebody at some point. I mean,
you got to play somebody.
The Super Regional. Let's go in reverse order. The Super Regional, they gave you 17 free runs. 25 free base runners in 25 either walks or hit batsmen, and 17 of them scored. I mean, come on. The starters, he's about to pass out. He's so sick. So the other guy who threw twice, he could in the heat. Oh man, they were just not. And then you got to win 2 out of 3 against a 268 RPI team. Come on, man.
You used to reseed before the Super Regional format. You would. Look, you gave.
I don't know how LSU did it.
You gave 8 regional sites, and you got 8 teams to the College World Series. But nobody was seeded. 2 seeds used to host regionals. So when they went to this format, when people were asking why don't they reseed, when you went to a 64-team field and you gave all these number 1 seeds, well, the idea was that the bracket would play out.
Who do you want? You can have one pick, and this is the most important game Saturday night. Who do you want on the mound? Well, any team, any pitcher in the country.
Anderson.
Me too.
Anderson.
And
that's
so,
all. Yeah.
And you got your guy ready for them?
Yeah.
Oh man, come on.
That's who I want going.
And Arkansas, this guy might not be their best guy right now, huh?
No, he's still their best guy. He's in form. The other guy's coming, but no, he's still their best guy. This is 2 times in a row.
That's overgone for Coastal's really good too.
Yeah,
but his ball jumps a little bit more than Anderson's. He's control. He's attacking his zone. He's missing bats. He took a shot off his throwing forearm.
He was talking about that yesterday.
And show me a little, and show me a little toughness.
This is twice in a row LSU's going to the World Series and throwing potentially the first pick in the draft in the first game. Yeah, I'll take that.
But you had to come back against somebody else, against a Wake Forest. You don't this time.
Nobody as good as Love.
They don't have. I don't think there's a team as good as that LSU team was. I don't think there's a team that's as good as that Wake Forest team was.
That Wake Forest team wins the national championship a lot of the years.
I don't think there's a team as good as that Florida team was.
No, not with the.
It's this college baseball. We've been talking about it for a couple of months now. So, speaking of which, we'll do a podcast tomorrow. Charlie and I, and mostly Friday. Charlie. I'm sorry, Friday, but mostly Charlie. We do have the podcast up right now. But 7 of 8 winning weeks.
Thanks to the
That's
folks.
hard, Charlie.
I'm aware. I was right there in the middle of it. Los Reyes, thanks to them for being our host today. Tomorrow we're at Sammy's on Highland. For Max, for Jimmy, Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned on Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.